Is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders and closet swing traders. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you guys are ready to go. This should be a fun week for sure. Lots of chaos, lots of volatility. We got earnings season, we got FOMC meetings. We got a stacked deck this week. So should make for some unique opportunities. But as you guys are piling in, let me just make sure we got YouTube up and running. Looks good. Good morning. We got Agnes in the house, Albert, Alex. We got Attorney Dan. He's got to be in court or just leaving court. One of those, Dan, because I know you switch your name over when you're not at court. I've got to figure it out by now. Got to figure it out. Good morning. We got Bill in the house. We got Brian, Kerry, Christopher's with us. Good morning, Eric, Fayaz, Greg, K, G, W. My boy Hector Hernandez, Jason P. King, Jay is up in the building. Good morning, Jesse, James, Joe, Jose, Lou, Martina, Rock is in the house. Ron is with us. Shane, good morning. Sue, Sue not only once, but we also got Sue's iPad. She's 2 different locations streaming. She got surround sound, 1 on each ear. Beautiful, beautiful. Love it. We got Sylvia, good morning, Tanya, and Wynn's in the house. You guys are piling in. Everybody in YouTube land, good morning to you guys. Ooh, let's get going. Martina, is this your first? I don't know. Were you with us during free week? Were you with us before? I just missed you. First day in the room. Is anybody first day in the room today? First day of real life trading member. First day of the rest of your lives. Man, excited. I do see some new names in here. Martina says, yes, I joined free week. Beautiful. BEA, beautiful. I love it. Smartest decisions ever. All right, we got SPY. We'll take a look at the SPY. Little bit of a gap and go. That's a bearish signal. We have a little bit of support right where we're at now. Let me try to see if I get a, because this is going to come down to the wire on this one. We are right at, it looks like we're right at it, but slightly under it. That's adding that onto a bearish gap and go. We'll see where this SPY wants to open. So even though it's a gap and go, if we're slightly above this, this could be an interesting bounce spot. I still think sentiment for the day on the overall market would be maybe starting to get a little bit bearish. And again, by the way, when I say bearish, it doesn't mean I'm like full on bear yet. But we've been talking about this one for a while. That's a lot of green days in a row. That's a lot of positivity in the market. That's a lot of squeezing on the bears. And this thing could probably come down just for at least a retest, maybe one more bounce, something like that. And then I don't know, maybe we rally higher, maybe we come down. A lot would depend on the Fed and the earnings this week. So we'll see how that wants to play out. But there's definitely lots of catalysts in the market today. This is not the greatest gap if you're a bull, though. So if you are a bull, you are trapped getting in somewhere probably the last 2 days. That 10 EMA is coming in on us. That should give us a little support, little spot to rest, at least for that maybe next bounce even. But right now, this does look a little bearish out of the get-go. So let's see if we can find something that we can rock bearish. The Qs. Chuck says, not my first day. We don't have to announce when we've been here for a while, Chuck. We just, I would just say if it's somebody's first day, but I guess any additional information is always useful. I do like it. Okay. Well, Win says I'm a noob. Win is not a noob either. Now you guys are straight lying to me. All right. Qs. Massive run on the Qs. So the Qs are gapping down. This is a gap and go. I do like the SPY a little bit better on this gap and go because we are clearing the entire day plus actually the day before's opening price. Right now on the Qs, we're still inside. That's take us to about 290, 197. Could give us our first level support. If that breaks, we still have a support very, very close. 290.99 would be the next support that would have to break through. So Qs are a little bit stronger at this point. Noob is first month. All right. If you're going to move the goalpost, I was going for the day win. I was going for the noob today. But think about that. Somebody that just joins today, you maybe were a noob until somebody else joined, and then it's like, no, I'm a veteran now. I've been here longer. So yeah, this one could get a little bit of a pullback, but I do think SPY is a little bit weaker. If there's any gaps, anything you guys want to see, make sure Craig's in YouTube land noob here too. Netflix Baba, and then if we'll see what you guys come up with, and then we'll take a look at those. And if not, we'll just kind of run through the list. I don't know if there's anything catastrophically crazy today. At least where Netflix is coming in, I would expect a little bit of a bullish bounce. Providing that we could open right at that little support of that VWAP. This is the real first test of it. I think today could be and I don't know, but I think today could be a decent day for covered calls potentially. I mean, it's up a lot at a longer term key resistance, but we are gapping down. We're not, I don't even believe from the previous gap that we've had, I don't believe we're at the 50%. We're probably sitting at the 238, maybe at the open of 38. Yeah, we're in between the 3.8 and the 23. So it has room to further retest down, maybe even to that 351. But I don't think there's a lot of money to go long on this one at this point. I think there's a lot of people that are decently profitable at this point. Probably want to reel in those bags of cash. But a little bit of gap down after 2 days of selling. Probably this thing gets bought up and a better opportunity to look to short. I'm going to go even relatively close to this VWAP just to set at least an alarm for us to take an alert for. But at open, I don't think there's enough money in it risk to reward wise to go bullish. But I do expect a little bullish pop prior to maybe trying to get into some of these positions. So we will see. It has some room to drop a little bit lower, but that would be a retest gap. I believe we were looking at Baba, BABA. This one looks really impressive. Let me just scoot this one up on my list. So far out of the two, I'd rather take this one. This would be a short direction. Again, technically, this is a retest gap. I do have a longer term VPOC from this dotted line. As close as we could get to a short on this thing at 114.71 would be my strategy. I will set the alarm a little bit sooner. We'll go for like somewhere in the zone. Add alerts, which this alert's going to go off right away because it's gap down. Whatever, we'll have to reset it. But I would like to see a little bit of a bounce. Technically, this is a retest gap, a decent gap down as well, right? So that's a lot of people profitable who shorted the last 2 days, waking up to a nice stack of extra money in their account. Probably look to take profit, so I would expect some kind of a bounce, at least a little bit, into that 114 zone-ish, and then that would probably be the rollover. You could make some money on a bullish move out of the gate. And if that comes, I might be interested in playing something, not for much, maybe like a 1.2 or something like that if I could get it. But we have some resistance in this zone. Also draw a little box. That's going to be our telltale area. But I would expect some kind of buying at open before short. If we're patient, we could wait. And I think the short side of that thing would be a lot better risk reward. But maybe we could play something out of the gate on Baba. All Chinese stocks gapping lower, aka JD. So they're all gapping lower, which is going to be out easy. Let's look at this. Look at this rando entry. I don't know what that's from. Probably one of the afternoon rooms. That was from back here. Yeah, that was a trade we attempted. Got down to the stop, ran right back. Our stop should have been the entry, I guess. All right. Again, this is still technically a retest gap. definitely looks pretty weak. Looks for a good fade. We have a little bit of support from three different VPOCs where we could get that bounce. Resistance, the first resistance on this one is 6102. And we're kind of in no man's land, kind of right in a deep channel, a deep sideways volume area. So I do think BABA would be a little bit better than JD, at least for now. And then if JD could get a little bit higher, even on this downtrend, so we have some kind of downtrend here. I think one more push into that, and then if we roll down or break through, we'll decide what to do from that point. But I think BABA has a little bit of a clearer way to target. IBM. That looks like a horrific IBM gap. Yeah, I'm gonna throw IBM high on the list today as well. Nope, not compare. Let's go here. And again, the one thing with IBM is we have. I think IBM might be in the SPY as well, though, because the SPY. I'd rather tech looks a little bit oddly stronger, where we might get more momentum on anything else, but this is a lot of selling that we've already had. That's one heck of a gap that we had on earnings from IBM underneath that last pivot. Where we're opening right now is just lower than this pivot as well. We did have a little bit of a high wave, but that's still a lot of selling. I think we might get some buying. I think I want to be patient on IBM at open. This is probably a spot with all those people who started to short. We might have a little bit of profit taking. So if we could get some kind of little bounce, this would definitely be I need a green candle to take a breakdown on. But IBM is that's looking rough. Is that a no, I was looking for like head and shoulders. I don't really see clear head and shoulders, nothing like that. But all right, let's see if we get some green candles in, some little bit of buying, and then I'd be down to short that one. HLBZ. I don't know. To me, it's looking weak, but we're still hanging in there. Right? So there's that big breakout candle. This technically could all be a retest. We still have the 10 EMA slowly dripping in, and we're kind of just hanging in this area. So we still are going to use that little 10 EMA as a little bit of a crutch for where it could bounce. We did give up that bullish run pretty quickly, but I could also see maybe a little bit of a downtrend break on this thing too. So if we have something like this, to some extent, that was a little high wave. And right now we're still technically in that high wave. So out of the open, I probably wouldn't touch it. I would need a little bit more data to come in and see which way, if the bulls are really that strong. Right now they're not, but this could definitely be just one big massive retest. That's a big move on this one. It's also a 24-cent stock. So very easy to manipulate this one. I usually day trade at least things that are $5 and higher. So just be careful of that one. The smaller dollar amount, the easier it is for Mr. Moneybags and the markets come and push this thing around unexpectedly. So just keep that in mind as well. Most likely that pump was probably on, I don't know if it was earnings or some kind of news or something like that. And if that news fades, then that play might not hold the same momentum. All right, we got XOM. So XOM is a retest gap still inside of this one candle, right? If this was slightly underneath, it'd be a stronger short, but we still have that 10 coming in, 10 EMA. We still have a very good area of support that I would assume people are probably going to attempt to buy off of. This is 114.16, so not that much room to the short side of things. Technically, this is a retest gap, so you would expect some kind of buying. So if you were to short this thing, I'd be looking for a short as high as possible. Try to get somewhere around 116.06 if you could. Otherwise, I don't think I would short here. There's not enough in it, not enough juice in a squeeze for me on this one. But huge, massive. Is this the real? Is this a real one though? I'm not sure if this is a real wick or fake wick. This one might be real. I don't know if XOM got halted. So if this is a real wick, that's a beautiful looking hammer. Not a lot of volume. This one, I don't know if that's real or not. Usually on something like that, you would see a heck of a lot more volume. Otherwise, that's a great looking hammer, and then that would be a great buy spot as well. So I probably wouldn't touch XOM out of the gate. Lockheed Martin. Lockheed looks interesting. One slight little spot of resistance. Technically, so we're still inside day of Friday. That's not going to make it easy to trade. But it is a gap and go bullish. Looks a little different than the rest of the market. This thing is obviously in a longer term sense. It's been a massive just bullish stock to play. Question is that run over? I don't know. A little bit of support here if that breaks. So if this breaks 463.14, 463.41, the next target for me would be somewhere up in this 472.97 zone. So it's possible we can get the break. Let's add this one to the list to watch. LMT. If it was just not in that inside day, it would be slightly stronger of a gap, but it does look different than so far most things. Let's get this high on the list. Eventually have to go through this. This list is just starting to every stock in the stock market. Gina says Microsoft. All right, so a little bit of a gap down again. Retest gap still in on Thursday's candle. Looks like we are at some type of support. This is a great bounce spot. So I would probably be, do we have room to go long? You have a little bit of room to go long on this one. This would be the spot that the bulls need to hold. We have a whole bunch of different VPOCs right in the zone. We have a much longer term VPOC slightly below us. So I'd even throw a stop maybe somewhere at like 242.15. And we might be able to make something happen off that. But that would be definitely a retest. Not looking to go short on that one out of the gate. If you are going short, you have to wait, I think, till 248.27-ish, as close as possible. And if you're going long, that's exactly where I'd be out of that stock. Netflix we did look at, but we'll take a look real quick. Again, just kind of a retest gap. So it does look like it's potentially starting to break down. This is a good bounce spot on a retest gap. So short as high as we possibly can. I do have an alarm set on this one too. So we'll see if that alarm triggers for us. But I wouldn't mind attempting a short. It's a tough one to short recently. But it has some room, at least for a pullback or retest. And if that alarm triggers, we'll be able to take a look. Starbucks, again, nice little breakout. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row, pushing to new highs. I would expect for this one to just kind of retest, but not that much. I'd probably be looking for, obviously, as you push to new highs, whoever's profitable is going to want to see some of that profit in their account and realize some gains. So see if we get, and we do look like we're opening right below that VPOC. We're going to come into all sorts of resistance or support, probably 107.22, and then a bigger one, which is the target that I'd be going for if you are in this thing short, probably like 106.38, something like that. We have the 10 EMA to contend with, but I could see some kind of just pullback, bounce, hangs out. This is one of those bigger companies everybody's got in their retirement accounts, so probably doesn't get too volatile. KOLD with a gap and go. KOLD. ProShares natural gas. I mean, this one looks phenomenal. Minus that huge run up prior to it, but and not a huge volume on this candle, on the selling on either of those candles, but volume on this thing a little bit all over the place. Let me see if we can get some kind of a target range. So first spot would be 56.30, and then the next spot would take us to about 62.42. So 62.42, and again, I don't know if that happens today. Let me just see one more thing on this one. It does look like it's probably the best gap to go, especially if we could pull back a little bit first. Volume, yeah, volume. I've actually never seen volume like this before, ever. It's very weird. Very strange. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of institutional interest, meaning that it should have some room to continue to run. But keep in mind, this is also an ETF as well. Yeah, even if we get like a 50% retrace of that, still takes us to about 67. It's got some room in the bullish direction. I would love to see a small, little, tiny pullback, very, very small, into Thursday's high, and then look for bullish. But can't argue. I can't argue. That's a pretty strong gap and go. All right, we'll consider. Lucian says you can set alerts for crossing above the line so it doesn't go off immediately. Yeah, but why would I do a smart thing like that, Lucian? JD has new. I like to reset my alarms 16 times before we get it in. DAL. Oops, threw that one in the wrong chat. DAL. Yeah, KOLD would be a long, if anything. There's still a lot of people profitable from the bottom of that thing, but so I'd be careful with it. I wouldn't necessarily just fly by the seat of my pants on that one. I would need a candle. If I was to go long, give me like a little red candle, something to break out of. Give myself a good stop location, something like that. Delta does look a little bit to the short side. I've not looked at Meta yet, Mike. I'll take a look at that one next. Again, technically, and we're technically right below the 10 EMA, but this is also a retest gap, so maybe we could push back into the zone a little bit. Yeah, so oddly enough, so far, a lot of things I'm looking, I at least want some kind of retest. If this thing opens and just drops like crazy, I get it. At this point on Meta, and this thing has moved, I mean, on Delta, this thing has moved a lot. It's been very, very strong. We still have, I would say, some kind of support down in this range. We're almost sitting at the top of this thing. Great spot for this thing to bounce up longer. And then we get that rollover would make sense to me. So if this thing does want to come down, I just don't want to be the first one in it, but we could definitely watch it throughout the day. Baba was, yeah, probably better short. I do have Baba pretty high on the list though, so I'll be watching that one closely. GOOGL. I thought I was gonna look at Meta too. I forgot. Again, this is technically a gap and go inside candle. So far out of the gate, probably like right when the bell rings, there might be a better opportunity still, but it does look short. Would expect some kind of chop though. We said Meta. I mean, look at the run this thing has had from the lows, all the way from like $88 to $151. Nothing wrong with that. We're starting to get up there on a lot of things. Meta still has room to the bullish side, maybe like 159.19. I don't know that we get there. This is technically a gap down, still inside day. So inside days are going to be a little bit more choppy. Anything inside day, I want to be a little slower to pick my entries, short or long. Right now, if you're just following the trend, bullish is the direction. We might be a little extended from that 10. So I could see a good case for both directions. The short is the way I would lean, but you're fighting those bulls the entire way on an inside day, and you're still gapping down only to about the top 40% of that candle. So it's not even a huge gap down. Let me see what else we got. How about GNS? What do I got left? Still 6 minutes. Good. GNS. This is going to be another one that's Genius Group. Is this has anything to do with AI? I could be wrong, but if this is an AI stock, it's a storage stock. You're pushing right now into, I mean, it looks like a great gap. You are pushing into a lot of, this was the previous support that broke down. This is gapping into resistance. Again, it is above $5. So for my plan, I'm able to trade it. I don't know what the squeeze, if someone could look up the squeeze on this one real quick. How many short, what the short float is. Let's take a look real quick. FinViz. Did SoFi have earnings today? What was this ticker? GNS. If this has got a high short float, it might be worth it. It's got a 10 on the short float. That's not a bad. I mean, that's not a horrible short float. We might be able to squeeze this one might be squeezable. I'm gonna add it to the list. We'll see. It's definitely not a ticker I would normally trade, but it does look interesting. And if it's got a short float of 10, we might be able to break that little bit of resistance. GNS. We'll add that to the list. We'll get that one up there. It's moved a lot very quickly too. Still Microsoft here. SoFi, GNS wasn't the one. Jeremy mentioned it would be a great squeeze, and he thought could get it to 10 at least. Okay, so I'm in the same camp with Jeremy. The squeeze on it looks good. This is a pretty phenomenal gap. We might have some room to run at the open. We are right just at a little bit of resistance, so I'd have to be watching this thing at open, see if we get some kind of pullback, then maybe take a break. But and this is also a retest gap too, right? So technically retest gap, wait for it to pull back. I don't know if we come all the way back there, but probably down to this like 506, 507 zone would be an interesting pullback, fail of that resistance, and then we get that bounce and continue to squeeze. But it's got to squeeze. Yeah, I didn't hear what Jeremy's take was on it, but same type of thought. Like if that one's gonna go, it's got to be squeezy. And having a short float of 10 is not bad. SoFi does look interesting. This is also technically a retest gap, so let's see if we get a little bit of a pullback. Should we get a fade on this thing? Let's see what the SoFi short float is. What do I got left? 2 minutes. Yep. Short float on SoFi is also 10. All right. This is going to go actually pretty high on the list too. I don't, again, if it goes without me, it goes without me. I'm okay with that. But it has the ability to do something. Let me just add this real quick. SoFi. Okay. Throw this up. So two of the plays would just be solely based on short squeeze. SoFi, I kind of like a slightly better out of the gate than GNS, just because GNS is into that little bit of resistance. But again, we'll see how these things want to open and run. SoFi, it is also a pretty decent gap. Has lots of room to run though. So we can get targets to. How do I switch this thing to percentage? Anybody know how to switch this thing back? Oh, there we go. I don't think I've ever clicked that button before. Next immediate target would be 671. That would not be that impressive. Probably looking at 699. And then if we could get a crazy day or even on a swing, that's 732. So we will see. Unfortunately, we only got 7 seconds left. Everybody in YouTube land, I love you guys, but unfortunately, this is where we got to disconnect. And you guys can join us each and every day with Real Life Trading All Access Pass. You guys